So something that I try to do every time I start a new project is when I'm thinking about the idea, I think about what are all the things that I've always wanted to do. And whether that's a certain story that I want to tell or a certain genre or a certain group of characters or whatever, a certain stylistic thing, or whether that's something like this where I've always wanted to do a Batman story and a Joker story, and I've always wanted to play the Joker. And I thought, I looked at all the elements that I had, the actors, and I was like, I can do it. So the scary thing about doing a project that you've always wanted to do is that then you have to answer that question of, well, how are you going to do it? Now you have to do it. This is a dream you've had. You better make it work.
Every time Joe gives me a script, it's better than the last one. You can put so much thought into it.
Well, my expectations going in were just a good Joker story. Like, I know, Joe, you respect the Mark Hamill version. That's your favorite version, of course. And, just stay true to the character.
I don't have many emotional connections to Batman, and so, or the, entire DC universe as a whole. And so that was kind of a disadvantage for me because I don't know, the lore and the history behind all that stuff and the emotional connection that a lot of people have with it. But I would say that's also an advantage because I'm able to take a more objective view about it.
The thing about Batman is that you can go into a comic book store and pick up any Batman comic and you'll automatically know what's going on. You can't say that with many other superheroes.
Batman can have so many different adventures. There's really no Batman story that you couldn't tell.
You kind of either see stuff Batman does and you're like, I want to do that. And either it's in a more superficial way, like, there's nothing wrong with it, but it's like, I want to do cool gadget stuff and I want to fly around and be a billionaire. Or it's like, Batman's out here, like, fighting. He's like, works through the pain. He, is trying to take on all this stuff at once. And, like, that's admirable. And I think there's also a part of you that's like, I kind of wish I was that strong.
I think people are drawn to stories about superheroes just because it's our modern day mythology. It's modern day Greek gods, battling over the petty humans, and so I guess something that makes Batman in particular very different is the fact that there's a human aspect there that I think really connects people with Batman and the loss that he has suffered.
I think what's great about Batman is that, it's sure the Batman stuff is cool. The gadgets are cool. The Batmobile's cool. But the most interesting stuff is when you take away the mask. And sure, the core of who Bruce Wayne is in finding himself through being Batman. But that's the thing, is it's not about the superpowers because he doesn't have superpowers. The key is the relationships and the human elements and the struggles and the grief and the pain and all of these emotional things. It has nothing to do with characters being mythological. It has nothing to do with the powers. That's not what's really appealing about them. But it's seeing these humans.
I think it's such a more personal story, and I think you're not like, when you're watching it, you shouldn't be like, when's Superman showing up too? Like, it's not about that. It's a personal story between Bruce and his friends and Gotham a little bit and the people in it. And like, I think that makes it stand out, but also just, I think, fits in really well with like superheroes in general, like what they're all about.
I'm most excited about the fresh way it takes a look at the Batman mythos.
There's some new takes and some new ideas in it that I really appreciate, like just kind of Bruce's relationship and who he is. And I think also just, and Joe might disagree, but like, I think because we're making it in 2019 too, like just some stuff is a little relevant, I would say. Like, it feels like a modern Batman origin story to me. And it's really also kind of a Bruce Wayne's origin story, because it's about Bruce, I would say, mostly. And some might get turned off as like, oh, it's about Bruce Wayne. I came here for Batman. But like, I think it can be fun, and I'm looking forward to having people see it.
One of the reasons that the best medicine is important is just the way it speaks to a lot of modern issues, struggles that we have, wanting to feel worth. Like Jonathan, he's looking for people who value him. And, we all do that. We all have our, struggles with school and like wanting to make sure that we're doing well and being valued. And then, with Bruce wanting to find a purpose, that's a huge life decision. What am I going to do with my life? I think there are clear connections politically with the best medicine, and part of that political discussion is universities. I think that's sort of an interesting topic to think about, just with, Jonathan wanting to find purpose and thinking, oh, well, maybe going to college is my purpose. Sort of rethinking that mindset about, is college, necessary? And is it something that we really need to do?
I think I like this version a lot. And I'm not just saying that. I think this is like an interesting idea with some of these characters we're doing.
I think the difference between The Best Medicine and any other Batman fan film is that with a lot of Batman fan films that I've seen, they take something off the comic and they put it on screen. There are a lot of comic adaptation fan films, and there's also just several scenes where you see Batman in the suit that you've always wanted to see him in. You see the Joker look the way you've always imagined. And I think what's great about The Best Medicine is that we took it as an opportunity to do something new with these characters, is that it's not just bringing the comics to life. That's not the goal. The goal is, let's tell a new story. The Batman mythos is what's going to be interesting to people. That's what's going to bring people in. And there are certain things that we are going to bring to life, but at the end of the day, the goal is to create a new story. And I think The Best Medicine succeeds in that. Sure, there's inspirations, but the core of it, especially with the Scarecrow's backstory, I think this is something that people haven't seen before, and I think that's really interesting.